I'm the fan with no name. Keep your hands where I can see them. The fan with no name is a persona, evidently influenced by The Man with No Name of Clint Eastwood fame. I needed to create a character who could appreciate the sort of balance between the film, the critical analysis and the light-hearted appreciation. And I feel like The Fan with No Name works really well in that favour because it can also be a fan of many different genres down the line, but the appreciation for the Western is The Fan with No Name. So that's kind of why I chose it. Well, the Western genre came to me sort of out of the blue. I'm a fan of many different types of films, but the Western's always been there. And then it occurred to me how not only is it sort of relevant in today's society, but there's so many different sort of subgenres of Westerns. Like you have the spaghetti Westerns, you have the classical Westerns, you have musical Westerns, comedy Westerns, science fiction Westerns. There's so much for me to draw on, and I felt like the Western was a great sort of smelting pot of different things to look at, such as American ideologies, American creation myths, and all these different things. Well, the feedback I've had has been pretty good. A lot of people sort of don't really look at Westerns as being the in thing, but when they've watched the videos, they've actually they've seen and they've come away with a different sort of outlook on what they can be. And I've had a growing fan base of people who say, yeah, that's really interesting. You know, I like these top 5 Western themes, or yeah, I probably should check out that film that you reviewed. Well, that was the interesting thing, because it is such a special part of history. It only lasted in reality for about 20 years. And yes, I would say that you have seen less Westerns in the last 30 or 40 years, but what's important to remember is that they've never really gone away. And the question I asked myself at the beginning was, it's not that the Western's dead or outdated, it's that it's never gone away. And you're seeing the Western resurgence even in today, like Westworld and No Country for Old Men and all these sort of Western films which have those basic themes of good versus evil and the settings. I don't think the Western's outdated at all. I think it's more relevant as ever. Well, that was always an interesting thing. The big sort of thing was the Native American. How they portrayed that culture has changed a lot, and certainly found that a few of the earlier films we watched were hard because of how they just took the Native Americans just like, yep, they're evil, they're bad, the white people are innocent victims, and it wasn't really like that in reality. So films like She Wore a Yellow Ribbon and Calamity Jane and their portrayal of Native Americans was quite hard to watch. But then films like Josie Wales and other examples of that, which sort of depict them as being the better of the two types of people, I found to be a lot more enjoyable. And talking of Calamity Jane as well, I suppose you could talk about the portrayal of women as well. I certainly enjoyed Calamity Jane, but I didn't like how the film ended, with it basically taking everything she was in the beginning: strong, independent, didn't need a man, didn't care about vanity, and basically just stripped all that away and made her a domestic housewife. And as you found with things like Calamity Jane, how it portrayed the women as being dependent on the men. And it was also interesting because, of course, Calamity Jane existed in reality. So to see how they took this character of the historical significance, who may or may not have done the things we associated with her, and then turn into this sort of very good-looking Doris Day character, was very interesting. But that's the thing with the Western, is that it's got so many different angles to look at these things. Well, as I said, the reason I chose the name The Fan with No Name was that it wasn't just Western specific. The Fan with No Name can cover many different genres, and I started to delve into sub-genres beyond the Western, so science fiction, so I could cover things like science fiction films, I can cover musical films, I can cover historical films. There's so many different areas of the, not just the film industry, but of popular culture in general that I want to cover. But yeah, that's why I made the website, so I can sort of put everything I am there and go from there, really. I've been the fan with no name. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you're interested in following me, you can visit my website, www.thefanwithnoname.com. You can also follow me on Twitter, and you can find me on YouTube. So then, dear viewers, I will bid you, as I always do, until next time, happy